Hello, my name is DeCiutiis. I'm here representing the MalletKAT today, and I'd like to start by just giving a little brief history of the MalletKAT. The MalletKAT came out way back in 1984, 1985. We showed it at the first PASIC show then, and through the years, the MalletKAT has come through many, many changes as we continually upgrade the software to make the instrument more expressive. Just first talking about the instrument itself, we have a two-octave model, a three-octave model, a four-octave model, and these instruments can be expanded. So the four-octave can be a five-octave, the MalletKAT Express, the two-octave can go up to 4 octaves, and the Pro can also go up to 5 octaves. So you have lots of different configurations for what your needs are. The MalletKAT really is a pro instrument, and the features that I'm going to show you today are all about the things that are needed for the professional musician. I've been at Radio City Music Hall playing in the orchestra now for 40 years, and we've been using this in the pit for about 10 years now. And I can say that most of Broadway uses Mallet percussion in one form or the other because of its sensitivity and playability, which I'll start getting into now. A little story to tell. Way back in the mid-'80s, I was playing on a dinner cruise ship that goes around Manhattan. And I played on this thing, and I played with the sax player, and I took him home. And he said to me on the way home that he felt sorry for me. I said, "Why do you feel sorry for me?" He said, "Because your instrument sucks." "What do you mean the instrument sucks?" And he said to me, "Well, in order to be expressive, your instrument has to be able to have a wide dynamic range. You have to be able to have pitch bend, vibrato, control the length of a note." And he hit me on the head that day. And from that day on, I was focused and hell-bent on making an instrument full of expression with a deep vocabulary. Now, with that vocabulary, as percussionists, we have to learn the gestures to get those things to happen. So what I'm going to do right now is to play some sounds. I am using this fantastic little box here called the Ketron SD1000. And it's the perfect thing to use when you are for schools, for practicing. Of course, the MalletKAT, because it has multiple MIDI outs, it is designed to work with software. Many people use this with Ableton, with Contact, Omnisphere programs, and I'm sure that if you look online, I have lots of videos of me playing some of those fantastic sound libraries. So again, before I start playing, one of the things that are so important when you're using an instrument is to have accessibility to sounds. You need to get them quick. When you're doing a show, you can't be fiddling around with a foot switch or looking at a screen. So the MalletKAT has 127 factory built-in kits for General MIDI right out of the box, and also 127 user kits that we also create to be packaged with hardware, like the Ketron. So that means if you got a MalletKAT with the Ketron, what you hear me play is ready to go right out of the box. All you do is turn it on and start enjoying some of the features. And also you'll see that there's a little PDF, and the PDF will show you that each kit will feature one specific function, so you can learn these gesture sets to make it fun. So the way that we use these gestures is by using foot pedals for different things. I have on here, I have one foot pedal that I use for sustain, another one I use for different things which I'll demonstrate. The first one being changing the octave of the instrument. So that means that if I have a 4-octave instrument, I can really play 5 octaves. I can change the octave to any range that I want. Let me explain. So the first sound is a piano sound. Now, if I want to make that low note, I hold the pedal down. Now I'll step on the foot. So the octave up, the octave down. So the next gesture I'd like to show, if you heard a keyboard player play a guitar sound, and if they step on the sustain pedal too long, it sometimes sounds blend into each other, so you know that it's a keyboard sound playing. So here is, on this instrument now, I have a little organ sound, but the sound, the MalletKAT controls something called monophonic mode, which allows the sound to be single note at a time, so that when I hold the sustain pedal down, you only hear one note even though the sustain is down. Okay, monophonic mode. But watch what happens. When I play a chord, the MalletKAT knows it and it lets me play the chord. So I'm able to go back and forth between a single note and a chord. The MalletKAT does the work. I just think about what I want to play, a single note or a chord. Here's another gesture. I'm going to play acoustic bass, but bass guitars use pitch bend, and bass guitars can play vibratos on the strings. How do we do that on the MalletKAT? By using our foot pedals. So my sustain pedal for sending the note, but my left foot now, which before was playing the octave shift, is now going to control the pitch bend. So watch. First the sound. But now I play that note and watch what happens. I have a pitch wheel. But when I do this gesture, so I can control exactly how much pitch bend I want by stepping on that foot switch and hitting a white key. But I have another foot switch here too that I can give vibrato. So watch when I use all three together. So now that bass guitar starts to come alive because we've added these gestures to the sound. Now this time, we're going to use velocity to control how long a sound plays, not just using a foot switch. So for example, if I do this, dop, 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 right? But watch what happens when I play a little harder. The sound changes. So watch now, as I start playing with more force on the instrument starts to get shorter and shorter, the sound. So watch. So why that is cool, because if I'm playing, so now I'm adding all those gestures, a part of the sound, the changing of the tone of the sound, making the sound note shorter, adding vibrato and adding pitch bend all at one time. One of the things that make the MalletKAT so special, and it's something that we did way back in the 80s, is to have the instrument learn how you play. What that means is you simply teach the MalletKAT what you call a soft hit and what you call a hard hit, and then it takes the velocities of the MIDI and it sticks it right in that range so that you can tailor just how you want the velocity to respond when you play. This is a big deal because it makes the instrument sound more musical and natural for playing. Here's another cool, exciting gesture. I'm going to use the sustain pedal now to call up the same sound an octave lower, but the pedal now is going to use the sustain individually for each note. Sounds complicated, but watch how much fun it is. So I'm going to play a little violin sound. Monophonic. Now, while that's going, I step on the foot switch. So you notice each of those sounds has its own sustain. But when you start playing a little quicker, you can actually hear them, both instruments come alive. So now I'm going to show the same sound, but being controlled differently by both controllers. So I step on the sustained 2-foot switch, and I play a chord. I let go of the foot switch, and it keeps on playing, allowing me to play on top of it. So it's pretty interesting. So now this instrument acts like I can accompany myself by controlling those notes underneath. And of course, it doesn't have to be the same sound. You could have strings and have vibes on top. It's all up to your imagination. An important feature of the instrument is actually having most of the functions instantly available by stepping on a function pedal. And having the screen is very helpful because it tells you the condition of what you're doing. Let me show you what I mean. So right now I have a vibe sound. But now I want to add a bass. It's underneath layer 2. So all I do is this, pedal, the function called double. So now they play together, and they sustain together with the 1-foot switch too. Now I want to split it. Step, split. And of course, you can split any way you want. You can even have notes play on top of each other. Watch here. They both play together, but here, and just bass there. I like the sound of taking a piano and playing it in octaves high up. Watch how fun this is. So, I love that. Here's an example of a guitar sound, and when I play a little bit harder, I get a different gesture stroke. Watch. See? Here's a fun sound that has like a muted sound, a muted string sound on the left side to help me play a little rhythmic figure. The Ketron sound module has several vibraphone sounds. Before, you just heard the bright vibe. This one has a vibrato sound. If you want a chorus sound, they have that too, without the vibrato. But I love the fact that it goes down to low C. It gives us the ability to accompany ourselves with bass notes. For those folks that like keyboard sounds, there are a bunch of fun electronic keyboards on this Ketron SD1000. That's the layered piano. There's piano and strings. Here's an L piano. And there's a whole bank of piano sounds within the module as well. When the MalletKAT is used on Broadway, they generally use the highest possible sounds, and they use a laptop for that, a computer for that. They use programs like Native Instruments as a sampler, or they use Ableton Live like on shows like Hamilton, or they use fantastic libraries like from Project Sam or Sonic Culture. These are the things that people who really get into the MalletKAT with a laptop. And it's not as complicated as it sounds. The programs are fantastic. The interfaces are easy to operate. But we have a Ketron SD1000 here. And for schools that want a practical, economical instrument, there's nothing like the Ketron SD1000. Let me show you what I mean. As you heard the vibe sound. I'll keep it again in this context. Complete with dampening. Here's the marimba. Here are the bells. Here's the xylophone. And finally, here are the chimes. So we have created inside the MalletKAT a chain, which is a collection of these sounds, so that if you're needing orchestral percussion sounds, they're all ready to go, and you simply access them by stepping on the foot switch or hitting this little pad. I'd like to talk a little bit about the organization of all the presets that are inside the MalletKAT. The MalletKAT has 127 factory presets. And what that means, and it confuses people sometimes, the sounds are not inside, but the presets are the collection of the sound that you want, the volume that it is, because this has a little MIDI mixer in it, how it responds to velocity, the octave range, how long the sound lasts, all of these things. We program that for you in the factory kits. Then we have 127 user kits. There you can create your own kits, your own kit names, and do all the same things. That's a lot of kits. So how do you organize that? You wouldn't want to have to run from kit 1 to kit 120 when you're playing a show. That's a lot of strokes to hit. So the MalletKAT is chock full of ways to get at those sounds very quickly. You can use the black keys to jump to sound 120, that's patch 120. You can hit this thing 127 times. You can hit the foot switch to change the sounds, but there's even a better way. We call that chain mode. And a chain mode is a collection of your user kits that you want in the order that you want. That's the way you set up shows. There's 16 steps in each of the 16 chains, so you have a lot of mobility in how you want to do that when you create shows. It's an important feature that makes this instrument professional. In this video, I've been using the Ketron SD1000, which is really perfect for home use and for using in schools. On Broadway, the MalletKAT is used primarily with computers, and they use fantastic sound libraries from Native Instruments or Ableton Live, and they use sound libraries from Project Sam, Sonoculture, Spectrasonics, Atmosphere, so many. Amazing. The world opens up when you start using your laptop with a MalletKAT, because you can have 20 gigabytes just for that marimba, so every note is meticulously sampled. It's a beautiful thing. Sometimes on Broadway shows, the sounds can change remotely so that the conductor or the keyboard player can send a program change to the MalletKAT, and it changes the sound for you. It's an interesting, unnerving thing on a Broadway show when you're just reading the notes and the sound changes, but that's a reality. Speaking about that, it's important for teachers to recognize that instructing MIDI percussion is essential. You can't go to a college and become a percussionist and just not know anything about this. Because when you go into the real world and you get a show and controllers are put in front of you, it's not a good idea for the keyboard player to be the one programming for you. That's why I teach at New England Conservatory, to try to educate percussionists and at least a cursory understanding of how these are used professionally. And we encourage you to learn in and dig into these features so that you can be a better musician by learning to express yourself with a larger vocabulary. On our website and on the internet, you can download for free editors for both Mac and PC so that programming can be done way easier. Even though we do have the screen, having it all on a Mac could be really nice. But it's important to know that when you're playing, anything can be done quickly and efficiently by the operating system that we've done here. So once again, I'm DeCiutiis. I'm one of the founders of the MalletKAT. I'm president of Alternate Mode. And I personally want to thank Craft Music for allowing us to make this video. We hope you find it instructional and entertaining. If you have any questions, please contact Craft Music. Thanks so much for watching.